Hey everyone, Voro here with another review on the Aeroworks 37-inch Extra 260 EP3D. This thing, I've had a lot of fun with it. It was fun to build, it's fun to fly, it flies very slow, it's a very small balsa wood 3D airplane. So in this video, we're going to talk about the building of it, the hardware, the electronics, how it flies, and how I like it. If you want to skip straight to the flight video, check it out right there. So go ahead and click on that, check it out. Also, my stick movements are on that video as well. It's something I'm just trying out, so let me know how you like it. And if you like it, I'll keep doing it. If not, well, then I won't. So let me know at the bottom of the comment section down below what you think of my videos and how you like this video in particular. So we're going to jump right into this video. So like I said, this is the Aeroworks 37-inch Extra 260 EP3D. This is mainly a 3D balsa wood electric airplane. It has a very interesting profile body to it. It's very light, very, very light, so it flies fairly light. Also, it has a very, very fat airfoil, and that helps out with the high and low pressure system above and below the wing. So the more air that's split, the fatter the airfoil, the lighter the airplane's going to feel. And this plane feels very, very light to fly, which is a great, great thing. Building it, we're going to get into the building part first. It was a new challenge because I'm not going to lie, building this was a little more difficult to manage than my 100cc or even my 50cc airplanes. Main reason, it's put together well and they have great ideas with how they're putting it together. The only thing is, since it's a small airplane, you need very small fingers and I don't have them. So I'm going to give you guys a few tips of how to deal with that if you guys have the same issue I do. Maybe you're not that good with your hands, maybe it doesn't work. So the first thing we're going to work on is with the tail section. We have two servos stacked on top of each other, one front and one in the back, and we have wires running from each side of the fuselage, going inside the fuselage, which is very thin, and later on in the video I'll give you guys close-ups and show you guys exactly how small it is. You have to run two wires through the fuselage all the way up to about the middle of the wing cord, which is great, except it's a little frustrating because it's a very small hole for servo leads. So I would recommend when you guys do that, do it before mounting the wing. So mount the stabilizers first and then mount the wing after that. That would be my strongest recommendation. It's not going to affect the airplane at all, or the stability or the structure or anything. I would do the stabilizers first, run those wires up while there's no wing, and it would make life a lot easier. The servos on the wing are actually very, very easy. They just slide right in, and it's just like any other aileron. So those are very easy. It's just the tail ones that are a little difficult to work with. Later on in the video, I'm going to show you guys close-ups, and I'm going to do a very thorough walkthrough of the plane. So now we're going to talk about the electronics that go into this airplane. So as I said, this is a small airplane, 37 inches, so it's using a small power system. The motor on it is a E-Flite Park 400, so very, very small, and it's running on a 3-cell 1350. Again, very, very small battery. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. The ESC I'm going to recommend is the Hobby Wing 18 amp ESC, and it gives it a ton of power. So we're going to check that out, and I'm going to again give you guys close-ups of everything. So now we're going to look at the airplane close up and show you guys everything about it. Alright guys, here we go. Now we got the plane out. I'm going to show you again. The fuselage is a profile airplane, so very, very skinny. I think it's only a ½ inch. Don't quote me on that, but that's about what I'm pretty sure on that. The wings, again, are very, very fat airfoils, especially for how small the fuselage is. So it splits that air and it flies super light. I'm going to talk about the motors now. So the motor, as I said before, is a little E-Flite Park 400. Now you might notice that the motor is behind the motor mount. So this is another little irritating thing that you have to build. You have to redo the motor and push that motor shaft through the motor and reverse it. So it doesn't take a whole lot of time, But if you've never done it, like this is the first time I've ever done it, it's going to take a little time, and you know, it might worry you a little bit. So check out some videos on YouTube of how to do it. Call your local hobby shop of how to do it. You might as well take the extra couple hours to do it right than ruin the whole entire motor. Here's the prop we have. It's a slow fly APC 10x47. This is the prop that I'm going to recommend. It gives it a ton of power on the 3-cell setup. Over here we have the ESC zip tied to the side of the fuselage right here. It's backwards. It's a Hobby Wing 18 amp ESC, and it's just zip tied in here. Now here we're going to talk about the battery bay. So as you can see, it's a little rough in these two areas. It's because the 1350 is a very, very tight fit, so tight that the wires didn't have any room. So those are dremeled holes or cutouts for the wires. So it's okay to do that. It's solid balsa wood back there, as you can see, so just Dremel out a little bit of wires and it'll work just fine. Let's talk about the battery. This battery is the Thunder Power 3-cell 1350 25C, and this battery is very, very small, so I really think this is going to be the most power you're going to get into this airplane. I would definitely recommend it. Again, it's a very, very tight fit, but it fits there, it's light, it makes the plane fly fantastic, and you're going to get about a 7 to 8 minute flight time. I flew a 6-minute flight time, still had 30% left, and I was on the throttle most of the time. So you're going to get an 8-minute flight time with this, which is a ton of 3D flying, especially if you're going hardcore the whole time, just like a small gasser. So check it out, the 3-cell 1350. Let's move on back to the tail servos right here, and as I said before, we have the two servos stacked on top of each other, and these are the Futaba S3114s. So these are fantastic servos, not that expensive, with a ton of torque and low and very high speed. So for the price, I really don't think you're going to get any better. I would definitely recommend these to everyone. If you must, the alternative I would do is the high-tech 65 MGs. So those were going to be my alternative, but these fell into my lap, so I used them, and they are absolutely fantastic. So check them out, Futaba S3114s. They're fantastic. Like I was saying before with the mounting, you have the wires, and you have one on each side running inside this little slot, and you can see how small the slot is when it's compared to my finger. That's my index finger, and it's about the same exact size, and the tunnel is even smaller. So it is very small. It took a little bit of time and a little bit of finesse to get it through there. The first one wasn't too bad, but once you get the second one in there, it starts to get really crowded. So be aware of that, and definitely do it without the wing on. Put the stabilizers on first. In the very back, we just have a drag skid. Now, I might experiment a little bit with taking the skid off of the fuselage, putting it on the rudder, and then putting a wheel on it, a tail wheel. Give it a little bit more stability on the ground. So if you guys want to try that with yours, let me know how it works out. I might try it with this one, but I can't see how it would be a bad idea. Just take the wire up through this solid sheet of balsa wood, and then mount the little tail wheel on there, and it'll be just fine. I think I'd prefer that much more than the skid, but the skid works just fine. Let's talk about the elevator. Elevator has a ton of throw on it. It started with about this much. However, with a change in the servos, a longer arm in the servos, we were able to get it up to almost 60 degrees. You guys can go ahead and check that out. So that's a ton of elevator throw, and I found that it actually was needed. When I had the 45 degrees, or I think it was like 40-45 degrees, it didn't seem like enough, and you really had to goose the throttle to get it to stand up on a hover. However, with this 60 to 65 degrees, none is needed. It just pops right in. The waterfalls are instant. This is definitely a must, so get as much throw as you possibly can out of the elevator. I'm going to talk about the rudder now, and the same story goes for the rudder. Originally, the recommended was about here on the rudder. However, I didn't feel like it was enough, so I changed it, and again, longer arms, got as much possible, put it all the way just before the block on each side, and that gives it a ton of authority. As you see in the video, it just stands up with the rudder. So check it out. Definitely as much throw as possible, and that's going to go the same way for the entire airplane. Get as much throw as you possibly can out of the ailerons, the elevator, and the rudder. If you're like me and you want to do that hardcore 3D and you want to do some really high G maneuvers, you're definitely going to need as much throw as possible on this plane. It is not impossible to control because of the fat airfoil. It makes it very docile. I ran into the issue when I was originally flying this. The ailerons did not seem like they had enough throw. So again, I made it more. And this I would recommend to anyone. Set up dual rates. Originally we had the ailerons here, and it rolled fairly well, about there. However, it didn't roll fast enough for me, so set up dual rates and then push it as far as you possibly can. Get it way up there. I think I got it 50 degrees up and 50 degrees down, and it rolls perfectly. In the video is run on high rates 100% of the time with only about 25% expo. The rudder, I'm not using any expo at all, and you don't really need it. It's a very docile plane. It flies kind of like a foamie. So take care of that. And now that we've gone around the plane, we're going to set it back down and finish up here. You guys can go check out the flight video. Alright guys, so there has been a lot of information in this video. So if you have any questions or comments, please comment below, post, ask, feel free. I will definitely try to get back to you and answer those questions for you. So let me know what you think. Finally, the last thing we're going to talk about is what I think about the airplane and what it's capable of and how I, in my opinion, how I like it. This plane I'm going to rate a 4 out of 5. It is a very nice flying airplane for a balsa wood model. If you really want to go with a balsa wood 3D trainer, this is a good way to go. I really like it. It's slow, it's docile. Anyone can really fly it. You can turn the throws down and it's very easy to fly. The couple downsides to it, it doesn't feel completely realistic. Unlike like a larger 100cc or even a 50cc or 30cc. Because of the airfoil, it makes it fly a little fake, if that makes any sense. It flies a little too light. The rolls are inconsistent. It doesn't roll at the same rate, even as much as you try to work at it. But for a beginner 3D, for practicing hovering, it hovers at ease. You don't really have to do anything to hover it. Just pop it up, keep your movement small, and it'll hover just fine. Knife edge was surprisingly stable. I was very, very happy with the knife edge. That's mostly due to the side force generators and the flat fuselage. So there's a lot of air going over the surfaces. You'll see in the video I was able to go from one side, pop the tail, go to the other side, pop the tail, and go the other direction, back and forth, and it was very nice. So big thumbs up on knife edge and thumbs up on hovering. They're fantastic. Rolling Harrier is fun. It's a great plane to start rolling Harriers with. But like I said, the rolls are a little inconsistent, so keep an eye out on that and stay on top of it. I did a couple blenders with this and it held up very nicely. However, it did not carry the momentum through the blender. It kind of died instantly. So it gets a nice blender going, but it doesn't rotate that many times. So again, that's due to the very light wing loading of it, but it still does it. Knife edge spin, I was able to get into a knife edge spin. It did it very, very well. Weeble wobble, it did it at 3 out of 5. There's not much to say on the Weeble wobble. It was able to do it, but it was pretty difficult to do it correctly. So this plane will do all the basic 3D maneuvers very well, and it will take you into the more advanced maneuvers if you have the desire and if you really want to get into them. It'll definitely do it. So I will rate this a solid 4 out of 5 and a 5 out of 5 if you're looking for a beginner 3D airplane. 5 out of 5 if you're a beginner 3D, and a 4 out of 5 if you're intermediate. If you're looking for a plane that you've already gone through 3D, you can hover, you can do rolling Harriers, you can do all that very confidently. You're just looking for an indoor plane, this plane will fly indoor, something to fly in your backyard, maybe down the street, at a soccer field, stuff like that, this plane will do it very well. So I was very happy with it. Again, there's a couple downsides, but as are every other plane. So check it out. This is the Aeroworks 37-inch Extra 260 EP3D. Be sure to check out, again, the flight video. Check out my giveaways. I'm going to give away some Thunder Power batteries here coming up soon, 3-cell 1800s. So perfect battery for all your park flyers and everything like that. Very nice battery, so check those out. Stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, like this video. The more likes, the more videos I can bring you guys, and comment with any questions, concerns, anything you want. Feel free to comment down there, and I'll see you guys next time.